have their very own skin color.
Well, if every person in the world had their very own skin color, there wouldn't be things like racism, and it'd be kind of awkward because there are colors in the world, and if they're different colors, like, okay, I'm gonna make an example: green, purple, orange, blue. If there's that extra color that a human is, it might not blend in with the habitat, so he might not be able to survive in the wild.
What I was thinking was like, if every person had their own different skin colors, they can't really pick sides. Cause like say if race and stuff, say if oh I want to be with all type of green people, but everyone has a different type of color, so nothing would really start like that. No like no type of sides where you choose. So like all white people be on that side, but there's different colors to it, so you can't definitely be on that side.
I would have to agree with Shard on that, because it would be bad, like Kai said, you won't be able to have, people won't be able to adapt as easily to their environments. Like if they're what if they have a really dark skin color up north, then that would mean that means that they might get too much vitamin D instead of having too little. And but it can also be good, like Shard said, in which there would be no racism, since there is only going to be one person in each color group.
But what if you were very an obscure color, while everybody with the vibrant and not colorful, with all the vibrant and beautiful colors, and you're just in the corner, like.
I would say that sort of seems a little bit like if other people, like what you said with the vibrant colors, I think they might start might start racism a little bit for the other colors, and that might cause like segregation, and so yeah, like everyone might be a different color, but sort of like if they had like a darker shade, it might be a little like closer.
I feel like people would still find ways to be segregated. Like people would still like people would be like certain shades of blue or certain shades of green, and like people that were like shades of green might be like better than like the rest of people. If that makes any sense.
So do you think like it's in maybe human nature to,
I feel it.
think about our differences?
In a way, I still think they're gonna judge in type of ways. So it's like, I think like if that ever does happen, you're gonna be like, oh, the light type of colors like light blue, light green, and stuff like that gonna be on that side. So they still might be like that version.
I think people are still gonna judge because that's just kind of like in human nature. Because you always want to put somebody down, so you can feel better about yourself. So like, there's always gonna be a way that you can judge.
Like for people maybe to protect their own feelings, they try to judge others. That's an interesting idea. So remember, you don't actually have to raise your hands in this Socratic seminar. You can go ahead and jump in at any time.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Okay, go ahead. All right, go ahead.
I agree with Lillian. I feel like people, like even if it wasn't like with skin color, people would still find ways to make one group like superior to others. Like maybe someone would say like people with like curly hair were better than people with straight hair, or like.
So like maybe if we all had the same skin tone, we would find other features to maybe target. That's an interesting idea. Okay.
Different mutation of eye colors, like that. Like if someone had like
Mm-hmm.
red and blue.
Right.
In one.
It could be attached earlobes or detached earlobes.
But it might still be hard because everyone has different type of genes and what we're talking about maybe.
So would those two scenarios cause or lessen racism?
Or lessen
segregation?
It's gonna take a while for them to like judge or try to judge someone. I think it's gonna take a while. So something does happen like that, we can kind of stop it there.
But if everybody was the same skin color, people would find even more ways to like segregate themselves, like earlobes, eye color, bushiness of eyebrows.
Yeah,
I think different facial color.
But I mean, it's gonna be our job to stand up. We're not gonna stuff like that.
How could you defend the variances in species? Like if we have all these differences, how could you support the differences of other people? Like why do all organisms have differences in the first place? Why do we see differences in species? Why does that exist?
Because they got the certain the different different ways because they have to survive and when they adapted to the environment. They sort of like grown those features to survive their environment.
I agree with Eugene because I think animals are different. The species are different because, like, say in Africa, it's hot, so like they have to adapt to.
Don't worry.
Oh, so they have to like adapt to go.
Okay.
Water and all that kind of stuff.
I'll go.
And then also, like if you're in, like, for example, I did the Alaskan moose for.
So what was going on with the moose? How did it adapt to its environment?
They adapt because their fur in Alaska is one of the coldest places in America, so that it'll keep them. It keeps them warm when it's winter because it's winter all the time there. So it keeps them warm because their fur.
Yeah, so I know a lot of you explored 2 species in different parts of the world, and we see these different phenotypes. What is a phenotype? Can someone tell me what a phenotype is? What is that?
Physical trait.
Physical trait. So why do we see so many different phenotypes in different parts of the world? Like, think about the organisms you compared.
Because phenotype is what can either basically, like for instance, hair color can adapt basically by if you have lighter skin and if you live near the equator and you have lighter skin, then you might need dark hair colors, then you can absorb more vitamin D.
Yeah, so there's a lot of features that we have that are determined by our environment. Even though genetics obviously is a huge influence, does our environment have a role as well?
Is that a question?
Yes. What do you think?
I didn't hear the question.
So does our environment have a role in our, physical attributes as well as our genetics?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can someone give me an example of that? Go ahead, Zion.
because like if you're at the beach and like there's sun, then like you could get a tan.
Absolutely, definitely.
What if we didn't need vitamin D? Like what if vitamin D didn't matter? Like
What if you run out of energy?
then would it matter what color? Like what your skin color is?
So maybe we would have different skin tones if we didn't need that, that vitamin for survival. That's something to think about. Absolutely.
So why does diversity exist in the first place then?
I think diversity exists. I think it exists because when people and animals started to emerge from the earth, it was differences. Like it wasn't the same dog, it wasn't the same cat, it wasn't the same bird. They had multiple colors and multiple phenotypes on those animals and people. So I just think that once everything started to mix, they got caused diversity.
The way I think of diversity is that there used to be just a single form of everything. Like there used to be just one type of dog, one type of human, and then we started moving to different places of the world, which caused our phenotypes to change depending on where we live in the world.
Yes. Could we maybe compare ourselves to other organisms that have differences or variances in their species, based on their environments?
Like
Yeah.
like how we adapt to our environment?
Yeah.
Okay, so like, for example, the Alaskan moose again, see its coat, and like when we're in winter, we have sweaters, we have coats, and we have like long socks and boots and all that kind of stuff. So I think that we kind of both, animals and humans, we kind of both adapt to our environment.
Yeah.
In different ways.
And we talked about a couple of questions earlier about what if things on our planet changed drastically? Like I know Shark brought up, what if all of a sudden our planet was a water planet? There's no more land anymore. How do you think that might affect the organisms that we have today? What do you think?
To be honest, I feel like if it changed quickly, then we might all go extinct very fast. Because
Well,
if it's like quick
You can
enough,
still catch a fish in the water, though, right?
I know, but still, like if there's just to be like tons of water, we don't know how high it would be, or like the people who swim, we like would probably be wiped out pretty fast. And, like the people who.
Jack, you had something you wanted to share about that?
Yeah, so if it doesn't happen just all of a sudden and it slowly, water just keeps rising, humans might evolve to have more webbed hands and feet, larger lungs, maybe even gills.
Yeah.
I mean,
Would that happen overnight, or would that be,
that would be over a long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Because
like thousands of years.
If I may jump in here, humans have probably the worst adaptation time because it takes millions of years for humans to change from like monkeys to humans and so on. But squids, for example, if you throw it in cold water when it was usually in a very warm climate, it would adapt very quickly and would survive to adapt to its current environment.
so it's interesting to think about maybe like the less complex an organism is, the shorter its adaptation time could be. And humans are very complex, so it makes sense that it takes a long time.
I genuinely think that we will evolve into mermaids.
Oh, okay. Why do you think that?
Well, I was watching this thing on Animal Planet that kind of got me like to thinking about like what if like monkeys turned into mermaids instead of monkeys turning into just like humans. And so I think that just like how, or maybe they did turn into mermaids, but like you just never seen them before.
Interesting idea. Kai, did you want to say something?
Yeah, with the water earth thing, what Jack said, that actually can become possible because think of pollution,
Yeah.
sea levels are rising. So we might actually have to adapt on probably 5,000. We're gonna have to try to start adapting at that moment, or else we're all gonna die.
Yeah, do you have organisms in the past had to have adapted because of changes, that humans have made? Like we talked about the Industrial Revolution, deforestation, how have organisms had to adapt because of drastic quick changes, to their environments? Like I'm thinking of that peppered moth we talked about. What happened to that moth relatively quickly because, of factory pollution?
Didn't they have to change colors?
Yes.
They were like white before and then they turned brown and black.
Yeah, and why did their phenotype have to change?
Because it was harder to find where you can like hide.
Absolutely. We have these differences, species need these differences for survival. So thinking about that, why do we judge for differences if they have come from, a scientific place? What do you think?
Because we still want to like feel better about ourselves.
Okay.
I just think because some people are humans,
Yeah.
they just want to find, some people just want to find something to divide a group of people. Like if everyone, it won't, I don't think it will ever happen. People keep saying it will eventually happen. I don't think it's ever going to happen that everyone's just going to be like together and equal. I think it's going to be one man that's going to find a way that we can, everything is just.
I agree.
Our brains are constantly dividing stuff into certain groups, like men and women,
Right.
white and black. Our brains are always doing that, and you can't really stop that. That's why racism was practically created.
People like try to find ways that they can be like better than other people, I feel. And so like I feel like that's where racism came in. Like people wanted to cause like how we like divided ourselves, like people wanted like their selves to be better than that other group of people.
They want to, basically, I think, because in social studies we talk about how they don't want to lose their power. So if you are here first and you built this, they don't want to lose that power. So they're not going to give it up, even though if the cost is everyone has to be divided or we have to be equal. They won't give up that power.
Right.
So I feel like it's kind of like animals, because have you ever seen like a species of animals get together with another species of animals and actually work together? I feel like that's kind of with white people and black people because I feel like they found a way. I feel like everybody, like everybody is gonna find a way how to like separate themselves because even like the birds and the bees, they work together, but I don't think they like know it.
I was ended up watching this show. It's called Tales. And this one episode, it was like it switched with white and white and black people. So white people were put in
Oh, okay.
And like in the comments, they were saying like, "Oh, I know how you guys feel now, right?" And they said, "How about we all like try to have a community and build up, and like maybe we could try to do something."
How can we embrace differences? Like, how could we, celebrate the fact that diversity exists? What are some things we could do about that?
I think some people can take responsibility, their ownership for what they did wrong, and then start like coming together. Like, okay, we have Black History Month. Women's Month is this month.
Right.
Asian American Month is coming up, I think, in April. I think so. We should start embracing those months, and then maybe we can build from there to learn. Everyone can learn their differences, and that we're all the same just because we don't have the same skin color or the same background, but we are still the same because we came from the same place.
Yeah. Does anyone have any other comments or questions about diversity or the science behind it?
Oh, actually, I have one thing to say about like the planet. Was it like an old water planet?
Mm-hmm.
See, we have boats, right?
Yes.
Ships. If everything turned to water, I think that humans would go on the ships, and mostly I think we would train ourselves to adapt into water, and maybe evolve to have gills.
Yeah.
Or like yeah,
Hold more air.
yeah, and then we could survive the water planet. Like we can hunt underwater, and and then maybe we can.
Yeah, this whole idea of natural selection is that organisms, whether, they're bacteria, plants or humans, will find a way to survive over time.
Also, you have to think about since like if it is like water, like if the ocean took over like the whole entire planet, like it kept getting higher and higher. You gotta think about sharks and stuff. They could like be out there. So.
Yeah. No, the predators are definitely, there's camouflage that, species use to protect themselves. There's so many different types of traits, and, it's, like we said, humans sometimes, think about themselves, but it's interesting to think about where these differences actually come from.
8 billion or 7 billion people in the world.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, if theoretically, if the world did become a whole water planet, then we have to think about also the plant life and the animal life
Yes.
that happens, or that is still on the world. A lot of them will drown, and a lot of plants will go extinct because they need oxygen to that, or they need air to grow.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think of how, that could cause a chain reaction, for other species as well.
What if we take it the entire different direction and say that climate change was taken extreme and the sun became so powerful that was actually harmless? What would we do?
You could, you know how people are making shelters about all this stuff, saying, "Oh, the sun might come close one day," or like a nuclear bomb, stuff like that. If it, I don't know, like if it comes.
I think this is. I think that's what we need, like something, something that's going to happen to the world that can bring all of us together to realize that we don't have differences. We can work together to help our families and our friends survive.
Because, even though in every species group there's variances or differences, at the bottom line, what are they all? Yeah, or they're the same. Like, we have a lot of differences in here. We have different heights, hair colors, shoe sizes, but what are we all in here?
Human.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though we don't have to be.
What about the finches? We explored Darwin's finches. They're all finches, but what was the differences for them?
Their beaks. They
Yeah.
have different beaks to eat different types of food in different environments.
Exactly. So we, can relate to all living things, when we talk about our differences.
And I was going to
So.
say, whenever a natural disaster occurs or something very traumatizing occurs, like wars, natural disasters, stuff like that, no matter what, people unite to help each other. And some animals help other animals, even though they usually wouldn't help them. They would just because they know that it's something that is unusual and they want to help fix it.
Yeah, I saw this video, and it was in Africa where a lion, and the prey they used to eat. He wanted to help him because he was fighting for his baby.
Wow.
And so he found the baby because one of the males, of the leader, he found him, but he was about to eat him. So the wife or mom of it, they wanted to help him, so they let them go.
Yeah, I think, Darren, you brought up a really interesting point that, if there is something extremely catastrophic, do we put all these issues, does that all of a sudden become secondary and
For
we,
example, like
the good can come out and everybody, when something maybe terrible does happen?
yeah, like for example, you guys.
Yeah, because I feel like if a natural disaster actually happened, we all need each other to survive and help each other.
Like for example, like the Houston, was it hurricane?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
That the whole community, they put aside their differences and they all came together to feed the people
Yes.
that were hungry, and then Chick-fil-A even opened on Sunday because of
Yeah.
Jackson airport. They opened on Sunday.
Right.
Even though they're very religious, and that's kind of humanity as we do, like you have to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is a great, ending note.
Something did happen where we all need each other. And if you just keep a small group, they probably don't think about the things other people think about, or trying to escape. But if you have a large community, other people can think how to escape, and you'll get through it.
Yeah, like white people have some things that we need, blacks have some things, Hispanics, Asians.
Everybody can bring a certain strength, to a group. Absolutely. And how does knowing about our differences, knowing about why we have them, how can that maybe help our society, especially, today?
I feel that this racism or whatever people call it, I forgot the word, but it really only happens in larger groups. 'Cause if
Okay.
you have a group of 5 or 6 people and you're trying to do something, you don't really think about their race,
Right.
their ethnic background, where they come from, what they believe in. All you care about is what they do, why they do it, how they act.
Yeah. All right. Good job, everyone. Give yourselves a round of applause. That was great. Yay.